I'm just going to set up my camera for 1 second, and then I'll get it all pulled up and be back, but I'll be listening.
Okay, thanks, mate.
Thanks, guys.
Paul Barnaby's an apology, and Paul's wife broke her ankle yesterday or something, so they're at doctors. And Andrew Geddes is in Adelaide.
How did Geddes get into Adelaide?
I don't know, but I'm wondering if he's going to get back.
Well, they ship him overnight express post, did they?
Yeah, I'm wondering, is Queensland open for people out of South Australia?
I don't know. I don't think Queensland's open for anything anymore.
So I don't know what Andrew's planning. He might like the idea of 2 weeks in a Brisbane hotel when he gets back.
Amanda might be late. She sent an email.
Okay.
Hi guys, I'm here. No photo because I'm in pajamas.
Priscilla, are you still in your pajamas? Jeez.
I'm in pajamas, but I fixed everything this morning. So
all right. It is 12:30, you know.
Work and I keep working after this. That's no problem.
Okay. Right. Well, if that's what makes your work better, that's great. Okay. Well, we'll get started then, eh? Thank you very much, everyone. Is there any other apologies? I've got Andrew and Paul.
And Amanda running late.
Oh, Amanda running late. Okay. Well, we'll get started. I sent round Jenny sent round the minutes from the 3rd of August. Is there anything in there that anyone didn't like or wants to comment on? I have listed some of the items, I think. Okay, we've sent round a seminar program for the remainder. This is after when we switched to the fortnightly presentations. So Jenny just took it out on that fortnightly basis. So that's taken us through to the first week of November. And depending on what you people have got to say, that's basically, I think, the end, unless you think we should be continuing on. But we might think about that in a moment, eh? Jordan, Jenny sent you an email to see if you will do your presentation I talked to you the other day about for SMEs on the 14th of October.
Yeah, mate, I can do that. Yes.
Okay, thanks. Okay. I'd put my name myself down just to fill it up, but that's all right. That'd be far better if you do it. So I'm running out of things I can talk about. So the rest of it, we seem to have allocations unless anyone's not going to be available. If you can let it, Jenny know as soon as you can, thanks. So we can keep that up to date. The crowdsource funding intermediaries, well, 4 of the companies have been very cooperative and have supplied people when we've asked them to. 1 let us down a bit, but they haven't done any deals. So I don't know whether they're losing interest in crowdsource funding, but the other 4 are all very positive of what they think they're going to achieve this year. So that's the seminar program. Any questions or comments?
No, not good.
What I wanted to say is that remember when you said that we're going to do sessions about supporting Melbourne and fellow accountants?
Priscilla, I missed something then. Supporting what?
Fellow accountants from Melbourne.
Melbourne?
Yeah.
Yeah, Melbourne.
And, you said we're going to do sessions supporting those.
Yeah, I think yeah, okay, yeah, we probably forgot that.
Are we still doing it? Because, you know, I can come up with the modern practice model, which would work very well in the lockdown. I got a few ideas, which my modern practice already is already set up as a COVID practice anyway for 5 years.
We've been running these webinars now for nearly 20 weeks, and our live participants are very low. And I would have thought if anyone in Melbourne really wanted to watch any of this, they would have. We do send out the invitations to thousands of firms. We don't know how many people, and hopefully they are, or watching them as recordings later on. But So,
Yeah, I thought I'm checking if we still have the idea to support them.
well, I know we discussed it, but
Somehow.
I probably got a bit sidetracked by just the lack of people, and I'm very conscious that you're all giving up your time to do these, and we're not getting live numbers. We get them on Facebook, but we don't really know how many are accountants. So do any of you want to do anything extra targeted at Victoria, or?
I think I do have. So we can do the 15-minute one. Remember, I used to do with you, but let's see what I can do to attract Melbournians. I'll do some
Okay.
campaign. And we can do the 20-minute one, which we used to do.
Mm.
Then I'll come up with the modern practice model, which works very well in COVID, works very well, I mean, in the future, of course, and it works very well for me for 5 years, but it is more like I already operate as a after COVID practice before COVID, yeah.
Okay.
So I do have some quite good ideas. People are shocked that, oh, wow, it can be done, it can be done. And before that, I had problems, people listening to me because it was too futuristic, yeah? And today it is realistic because we are living it, we are in it, yeah? So I do have some solutions for COVID, the lockdown, how to actually make the most of the practice during lockdown. And maybe in the future, some practices might want to reconsider low overheads and stuff like that. I do have this. It is a concept which I developed, and it looks like, yeah, it was futuristic and not realistic, but today is realistic. I said it did fall in place.
Okay, well, how about we consider that in conjunction with what I've called item 7, the CommBank's accounting market pulse, because that's a little bit along the lines of what I meant by putting that item on the agenda. I sent Mark a note on Friday, I think, and basically said, what do you think about this? I was rereading the CommBank's report for someone the other day who was from Victoria, Priscilla, who did ring me about it. It occurred to me, I read somewhere, and I did go looking for it yesterday, but I couldn't find it. This report, that the research for it was done in May. Well, there's a lot of things happened since May. And I was wondering what you people think. I'm quite happy to do it, is to approach the team at CommBank, which is headed up by a guy called Mark Torrento, I think his name is. And Totaro, T-O-T-A-R-O, Mark, M-A-R-C, Totaro, and ask him or suggest to him that they probably should be doing some sort of follow-up to that report. In other words, what's happening with the take-up of business advisory services? Their report indicates that it's the hot subject for the next 6 to 12 months. Are people doing that? And seeing if they're prepared to be involved, preferably. But also, what I was hoping is we as a group could say to him, well, we can supply you if you want to do a festival of commentary, videos, webinars in a session, either one in one day over a couple of hours, or maybe a day every week for a few weeks, just to bring them into it and try to say, well, their research did show that this is what was going to happen to accountants. What are you doing in your firm? Well, this is what some of these firms are doing. What I'd prefer them to do is to go back to who they think might have been the people who identified the business advisory services was going to be, the top item, and follow up with them and see what's happened. What have they done? Have they done something about it? Or are they still thinking about it? So what do you think as a group? Mark? Is everyone still there, or have I lost you?
Yeah, no, we're here. No, I think, am I coming through, Peter?
Yeah, you're coming through, Trent. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I think it can't hurt to start the conversation. How much they'll engage with you, I'm not sure. I don't know if you've spoken to the CommBank people before. But,
I went and saw them probably 2 years ago. I was in Melbourne. I'd made an arrangement. Unfortunately, Mark Totaro wasn't there that day. His mother-in-law was very ill or something, and I met his offsider. So there's a special little team there. There's about 4 of them, I think, because they do a legal review and they do accounting, and they're just a little group, and they write it, and then they spend a lot of time briefing Commonwealth Bank people on their insights into the accounting and legal professions. And he was, quite I've got his name somewhere. I can't remember it off the cuff. He was quite a nice guy and rather apologetic that Mark wasn't there.
Yep.
We've got their report, and I refer to it all the time. And really, this phone call I got from Melbourne was leading to that. Said, "Well, what's happened? Am I noticing an uptake?" And I thought, "Well, I'm not noticing anything at this stage." And perhaps it could be something they might want to do. Now, they might not want to do that because they had consultants do that initial research, and they might be contract bound. They've got to go back via them, and they don't want to spend the money or whatever. But I just thought it was, and subject to what you people think, if we as a group could say, well, look, we've got half a dozen who are prepared to speak on these sorts of subjects, but we really need them to be the lead. I'm even prepared to say we'll organise it, but we really want them to go out to the market, though, at least with an email, to say they're doing a follow-up to their report and letting accountants discuss it.
Yeah. It's a great idea. Yeah, if they'll do it, then yeah.
Any other comments?
Sorry, Mark, I can see you're talking. We can't hear you.
You've got yourself muted.
Yeah.
Mark, there
Sorry.
you go.
There you go.
Sorry, Peter, to jump in and jump back out. We had a problem here with the internet. I might have missed that last bit.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, what we seem to only have Trent there for a moment and Jenny. So can everyone hear us now?
Boy.
Yeah,
What
Pete,
I'm
I've got
saying-
you. I've got you.
Yep, good.
What I'm saying, and Mark, I sent you an email about it on Friday, I think, and we had a
Yeah.
bit of a discussion. Someone asked me the other day from Victoria, what's happened, and I mentioned this report. I mentioned this report from the CommBank, and the question was, well, what's happened? Has there been a noticeable take-up in business advisory services? And I had to indicate I didn't really know. So I was wondering when I got off that call, I was wondering whether we could create some interest with the CommBank's team to say, we as a group have got presenters who can present on various aspects of business advisory services, but it'd be essential that they're in the middle of this as the CommBank Market Pulse Group. First of all, of course, in promotions, and then secondly, having their boss, Mark Totaro, being the keynote speaker, where he can outline what the research showed, what their questionnaires response was, and then try to get some feedback, preferably from those firms that they interviewed or their consultants interviewed back in May, to see what they're doing. And I was thinking on the lines that if we then had some speakers like, our members in this affiliate group that could talk about the sort of the business advisory services activities that accountants could be offering, just to get it back on the agenda, if you like, as to where things are going, because obviously things have changed now. A lot of people thought, the end of September was really the end. Businesses had to pull up their socks and get back into business. There'd be no JobKeeper for them. But now, obviously, there is a JobKeeper. And now the government's also extended the moratorium on insolvency relief until the end of the year. So a lot of the pressure's been taken off. That's what you were referring to, Mark, last week in your webinar presentation, wasn't it?
Yes, Pete. Yeah, Pete. I think it's a great idea if we can partner in some way with the Commonwealth Bank. I mean, they've got the depth, they've got the name, and they've got the coverage with the industry. I've had discussions with 3 Victorian firms last week. All of them were saying to me, we're at the point of despair. Culture-wise, it's a major concern in the firm. They're just getting to the point it's driving them nuts, not being able to meet a client, not being able to go 5K from home, and trying to do what they're currently doing, which is monitor workflow through a digital presence.
Yeah.
I've also had 3 firms approach me in Victoria and 1 in Tasmania that this morning, like clockwork, have all said, we're not going to do this advisory stuff in 2020, let's do it in 2021. And I've literally booked 4 straight weeks in February 2021. I fear at the moment that the industry is getting bombarded with people wanting to offer them digital type training, digital type services. And at the moment, they're just trying to keep their head above water with the JobKeeper stuff and dealing with the new phase of it, as well as staff still being at home.
Yeah.
The 3 firms I spoke to have all found that when the staff were working from home, and these are reasonable sized firms, by the way, quite successful ones, that productivity for the first 3 or 4 months was pretty good, but over the last month it's waning. You know,
they need change. They need
people have just had a gutful of being stuck there. There's no interaction with other staff members. Asking a question of someone to help them is an email. You know, and I think whilst we've put up with it and whilst we've done the best we possibly can, I think it's getting to the point now leading into this part of towards Christmas where they're just throwing their hands in the air and saying, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, but then they need a bit of innovation. There's some ideas out there. I've seen lots of reports on how to manage team from remote. And so they might have to change a bit, or they might have to take up new ideas.
They are changing. I'm just saying that what they're saying is we've had a gutful of it. We've had enough.
Yeah, so they will have
So
to change.
when you've got a market like that that's saying that, it's going to them with a new service to do with clients, in my mind, is premature.
No, it's not. It's not about dealing with clients. It's dealing with the system. So innovation in the system and in actually managing the team, not in managing the clients.
They're already managing the teams and they're doing it successfully. These are $3, $4, $5 million businesses.
Yeah, but not all of them. This is the ones you know.
At the moment,
these are the ones you know, but what about the ones you don't know and are still struggling and need ideas?
Okay, good luck to you, because I'm not going near them.
Well, I wish you were.
Can't get back to Queensland if we go down there.
Yeah, but I wish you were. I might need help.
I'll just go somewhere else. Doesn't bother me.
What do you think, Trent?
Yeah, I think that $3 to $5 million practice range. I mean, that's one segment of the market, but there's certainly a lot more practitioners out there operating at a different level to that.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, and I think certainly from the client base I've seen, my experience has been it's the smaller practices that are far more open-minded to this concept of advisory services, because they don't have the existing goodwill, they don't have the existing client base, they don't have the existing infrastructure that sets them in part on compliance.
And
that's
they
been my
don't have the new ideas, and then
and they need to do something different too.
Exactly.
Because they're not making any money because the partners are.
Exactly. So in that moment, I'm going to take Trent to help me.
I'm not saying you're wrong, Mark. I'm just saying there's
but I take Trent to help me because you know that there's people, there's practices out there, they need a bit of help to cope with the new conditions.
Yeah, so guys, I'll interject here as well. I think everyone definitely has a point there. Like, guys, I've got 1,500 active clients throughout Australia. They're in Queensland, they're in New South Wales, they're in every state. Mark, I agree with you here. Like, people are feeling the pinch, like for the first 3 months. And for those that haven't met me, so my firm is a HR, work health safety consulting firm. But we also work with mental health and leadership as well. So, and I've got 5 directorships in not-for-profit. So, guys, we are actually seeing that in places. I think Queensland, we're very, very lucky at the moment with the easing of restrictions, whilst we still have that. Whereas Melbourne, like what we're seeing with people in Victoria, is mental health, even running these touch base points. We're talking about, you've got a leader of a team who goes there and they're using the initiatives to say, let's be in contact with my team. You've got to remember this, they're at home with their family. Their mental health, even not factoring work into it, they are at breaking point. So no matter what the businesses are doing, there are going to be those that they, unless something changes soon and people are not allowed to, or there is some touching base with the mothership or some physical interaction, we are going to see some huge fallout from a mental health point of view as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Which means people are like, in organizations in that sort of space are not going to, they're not going to convert. They're not going to be interested. They are purely in survival mode. Remember, Pete, that's what you called these. It was the COVID survival panel. And I think it's easy to realize that, you know what, so in Queensland, like, our business is going great guns. The businesses I'm talking to at the moment, they can't find people to employ because it's going that well. This will freaking end soon. Okay. But I also, to share the sentiments of other people, is that situation may be for some businesses, and like I just said, some people are going gangbusters. So there are going to be people at different stages of the buying cycle from a sales point of view at the moment, and it's just about identifying where your business fits, where your target market is, and then going for it. Because remember, in a bad economy, there's someone kicking ass, and in a good economy, there's someone who's having a shit time. It's about creating our own economy or finding where we fit. So I think opportunities for everyone, but honestly, my sentiments are with people in Victoria and those on lockdown, because we did it for like 2 weeks and it was stressful. They are having a rough time. So however we value as a team is, I'm all for it.
Right, because the mental health, you have to fix that first before you can go forward.
Yeah, but Priscilla, the mental health, especially in Victoria, I don't think they got any chance of fixing things for months, the way that looking at what their premiers announced yesterday.
Jordan said, teaching them to cope with it up until the survivor is over.
Yeah, that could be 12, 18 months. We don't know yet. And there's going to be some massive fallout, but I think as all of us run our respective businesses, I think the thing that we can do to give back is identify where we can potentially offer help or support, or even help people become proactive. Like Mark, you said, you guys are planning. You've realised, that your client base won't convert. So you're actually starting to proactively plant seeds for appointments in February next year. So that's good, mate. And you've worked out what that market is. So I think we've all got to do the same thing and realise what do they need, and how do we approach it from a proactive point of view, because people in business and in industries are very reactive. It's our job to make sure that, and when they react and they start to action it, it's 3 to 6 months before they see results in a lot of avenues. The thing is we start doing that now, so that when February comes, they're not going to miss the boat, because there are going to be a lot of people who become insolvent and shut down based on this. Like America 2008, I truly believe that we're going to see something very similar here. So it's about also making sure your business and your consulting services we're going to be recession proof, and our clients will be too. So that's, if anyone's business planning, that would be what I'd be doing in your strategy right now, is working out how your business can offer that and bring that to your clients. And I'm sure you all are.
Exactly. And then Peter has the tools. It's just there. We don't have to rebuild the tools. He's got the tools.
Yeah. I mean, just to round that out, one of my clients last month, They're a new 3-partner firm starting up from scratch. It's headed up by husband and wife team whose husband's come out of a sort of a corporate CFO role, internal in corporate, and they've launched a practice. They've gone and leased office space. They've invested in marketing. They're making moves to get into that space, and he's going to operate as an outsourced CFO type model. So, I mean, I appreciate that's not an existing business. It's a much smaller operation, but there are still people out there making moves.
Exactly.
And when did he do that?
Last month.
Oh, okay. Right.
Okay. They signed a lease last month. So
yeah, and they need help.
So there's people. It's also like, I appreciate that's a minority. Like, that's definitely a small segment of the market. I'm not saying everyone's doing that, but just to say to tar everyone with one brush and say no one's doing anything, I think it's a bit.
Yeah,
it's not right.
Mark, can I ask you, what's the theme? Okay, you talked about Victoria then before, and I think they are different to other parts of Australia at present because of this COVID. Some people might claim they're different all the time, but we won't go into that. But what's the scene in New South Wales?
Interesting, Pete. I don't have many consulting firms in New South Wales, I'll be honest. I've got a big one that I work with down at Griffith, and I was down with them the week before last.
Yeah.
What's the challenge there is getting there. Because getting there at the moment is jumping in a car and driving 9 hours each way, which did my head in.
Yeah.
Because airlines, if they are flying, are doing one flight in, one flight out. So that makes it pretty difficult. The sort of stuff I was doing, you could do through digital means, but it's nowhere near as effective. Queensland, look, I'm working with 3 or 4 firms in Queensland as if there's very little change. They're still finding that first week or 2 of each month is JobKeeper City, sometimes 2 weeks, depending on the number of clients.
Yeah.
Which again, they're super. Let me make something clear. There's not one firm I'm talking to that isn't keen to do advisory. That don't believe that advisory is on their horizon. They're just saying, let me get through to Christmas.
Let me breathe, yeah.
Let me breathe. And Pete, as you and I know, if I go into a firm to do some stuff with advisory, going in there late November is a waste of time because they'll break for Christmas.
Yep.
And the 2 or 3 weeks over Christmas loses momentum. You're better off getting them in mid to late January or February.
Yep.
So we're now starting to creep towards the point where they're thinking Christmas. But it's not like any of them don't want to do it. They all see it as a good idea. They all see recovery services, because I've done a few. I did a webinar recently for a seat bank on the same thing. I did a couple for Smith Inc. They're all saying, yep, great idea, should be doing recovery, should be at least looking through, as we discussed, all those clients that are currently getting JobKeeper and going and having a cup of coffee with them and just seeing what they're up to and talking to them about recovery strategies to get back to where they were before COVID, as long as that might take some of them. As Jordan said, that could be a 12, 18-month exercise to get back to where I was. Or I might never get back. But they're all super keen to do it. In the next breath, it's, oh, Jesus, we're busy. Our staff are flat out. JobKeeper's causing us a lot of, not angst, they're making good money out of it.
What about something, Mark, as simple as like a 6-month cash flow? You know, so not a full-blown advisory. Are they offering that? Are you seeing the firms offer that low-level service because businesses surely need to see
you know
what
I'm seeing it, Trent, is when the client comes to them. And because of that, the client's gone to the bank.
Yeah.
The bank needs a cash flow because, as we know, it's difficult getting money out of them at the moment.
Yeah.
So they're certainly doing advisory stuff. A lot of it's very reactive because it's instigated by a unrelated third party. But there's not one firm that isn't saying this is a great idea. Classic example, Pete. I've got a good one I've just picked up in Norwest, Castle Hill, New South Wales. Had them booked in to do the stuff just before COVID. We're now looking at February next year.
Yeah.
But the email come back this morning, super keen, this is great, want to do it, but No way in the world, but this side of Christmas.
Yeah, not until February. Yep.
Now, that doesn't mean we haven't got opportunities with a whole host of other firms who might be thinking different.
Yeah.
I'm just struggling to find them at the moment.
Yeah.
They are hiding.
We should have a chat, Mark.
I mean, with our Smithy webinars we do every month, we get a catch through generally of about 100.
Yeah.
The last 2 months it's been 20.
Yeah.
So same thing you're finding, Pete. That
they are hiding.
They're hiding. They're hiding behind their comfort zone.
They are scared, terrified. They don't know. It is.
I think, as I said to Pete last week, they're comfortable, they're fat, and they're lazy.
I didn't want to say it this way. The lucky you said that.
Well, I've said
I don't want to be accused. I don't want to be accused that I said that.
No one's going to get me at this stage of my career. I don't give a shit.
Thank you.
But it's true.
Yeah, it is true.
The thing I worry too is the surreal nature of what JobKeeper and Stimulus is doing for accounting firms. They're saying we had record Mays and a super record June. I got one the Savo with firm in Canberra. Yeah. I'm looking at their numbers. Their numbers are miles better this year than last year. Miles better.
Yeah.
But then what I made them do is separate the piecemeal income. In other words, separate now the piecemeal income from the current income. And I just got through the scorecard I use with them, and there's about 35% of piecemeal income.
Yep.
That's dangerous. Yep. That is dangerous when all of a sudden that's not there.
Unless they now convert that, though, into business advisory services that they can offer next year.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the challenge. We've somehow or other got to get across to them. You've proved you can do this extra work that none of them had budgeted to do, or virtually none of them to do anything like that. You proved you can do it. And if it was being done in their normal work environment, like in their offices, it would not have been anywhere near as stressful as what this period's been for them. It's now, how do they now make sure that continues through them being proactive? They won't get it if they're reacting.
No. Yeah, Pete, I reckon, and other guys, I reckon we're getting to the point where we've got to start talking about preparing for 2021. As much as we probably don't want to do that, but, what are you going to do between now and Christmas that's going to prepare you to be able to launch this stuff in 2021? How are you going to get out of the blocks in early February?
There'll also be the opportunity from you hear me bang on about proactive versus reactive all the time. From a reactive point of view, like you think about, you break down the aspects of the business that are probably the most integral. So you've got your numbers, you've got your people, and you've got your sales and your marketing. So all those three main pillars, which factors into like your business planning as well and your strategy. So accountants and all of that can help with the strategy side of things. From a reactive point of view, like there's a reason why companies like EmploySure are successful, and why they charge stupid amounts of money. Accounting firms are looking. That's where we've been successful too. Is they're looking to partner from that advisory point of view, and a lot of people can't advise, or accounting firms can't give advice about employees or terminations, whatever it may be. You can with the termination pays. I really see that's a huge industry where accounting firms actually take that on in-house from a reactive point of view, because who do we call when shit hits the fan? Well, no one's going to call Fair Work, and if they do, they're on the phone for 45 minutes. They don't get an answer, and so we call our accountant, hey, what happens? And the accountant usually is in a position where they're like, well, we don't know what to do. Or they've been approached by someone like EmploySure who dangles a golden carrot and says, guys, we're going to help you out. And then we lock them in for a 3 to 5 year, a contract for some shitty $2,000 templates. That is like, and you know what, the employee, the accountant's customers are signing up to that because they're in a position where they don't have any other options. And I look at that, and there's a reason why the HR industry has been one of the biggest industries in the country. And people like us have started our businesses off the back of that, is because there is a need. And it's about educating accounting firms as to how to do that, or giving them access to a strategic partnership where they can actually give those
Yeah, that's better. That's better.
Yeah,
So, and that way they don't have to have it in-house. But it's exciting about that. But as those things pop up, that's where I'd definitely be steering your clients to, is making sure that they're making those strong relationships. And even yourselves in these positions, like Mark as well, and Trent, like you guys have the ability, whether whoever you find there, is to put your clients in touch with those people. And that's where you bring value as well from an advisory point of view. So, and it's where accountants can bring value to their clients as well, because that is a big thing. The moment you stop providing value, I'm going to go to automation. I'm going to outsource my role, and your accounting firm can shut down. Whereas if they maintain that position of trust as an advisor, even if that advisor is just putting them in touch with the right people at the right time, they will continue to have a loyal client base. And that's going to be the defining factor in the years to come, as automation and things like that threaten their roles.
Yeah, that's sort of a month 3 activity I do with most of my traditional accounting firm clients as a marketing consultant. Is we have a strategic partner plan that we'll work through, and we'll say, okay, well, who are the pieces we need to fill here? You know what, and then we'll have an approach to actually go and fill those roles and do various cross promotional things. So yeah, spot on. They all should be thinking like that.
So in lots of ways, the accountant is the project manager. He's got access to these various other people, and it's making sure the client knows about it.
Peter Towers, you paid attention.
Yeah, exactly. And what I want to say here is that we bring the expert to the right role. So they can't expect that Priscilla knows everything. No, I do have the expert who answers your question. Expert steps in. I have strategic alliances with experts. Yeah.
Okay,
and that makes me good enough, isn't it? I don't have to know. All I have to have is the right association.
Yeah, it's 2 benefits. One is it helps your client, but secondly, it's a bit of reciprocation. Because you're putting the strategic partner in front of your clients, hopefully giving yourself the opportunity to do the same. So it's a win-win.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Does anyone know these guys then from the Commonwealth Bank, Mark Tataro? It's probably.
No, I don't know him.
Don't know him, Mark? I didn't know whether you'd ever come across him. How about I will try to contact him then later in the week and have a conversation with him. And I gather the consensus is it might be far better to pitch to them to do something late January, early February. And I imagine with an organisation like them, these things just don't happen in 5 seconds. So they probably want some lead time in any case. But if not, if he says, oh, no, okay, we're ready to do this in 3 weeks' time sort of thing. Because there is this end of September was the original D-Day, wasn't it? That people had to have their act together or not. It's now been extended. So I still see if they wanted to do something, and perhaps there's a staging in this saying, okay, let's do something around the end of September, beginning of October, and then again in February, just to try to keep the market going. I don't know. The Commonwealth might have a completely different view, of course, and say, well, they've done their job. They produced that report. They're not going to get any further involvement at this stage. But
I think it's worth an ask, Pete.
Yeah. At least they know we're out there trying to do something. So I'll let you all know what I get back. But are you all... Is everyone happy that if I basically say to them, I'm representing a group, we call them our affiliates, and they're all, there's 7 or 8, and here's a brief summary of who they are and what they can speak on. And if you want to do a combined webinar type presentation over a few days or a few weeks, they're all happy to be involved.
Yep.
Everyone happy on that?
Sure. Yep.
And I'm sure, Jordan, your skills there looking at that HR, mental health area, all that type of thing would be very welcome too.
Exactly.
Perfect. Yep.
Okay, so I'll see if I can get through to him and talk to him. I'm sure I should be able to do that all right. I did the first time a couple of years ago, and I'll come back to you and let you know what he says, eh? And then just excuse me, I'll just set another call, but I'll go back to him. Okay, now the only other item there's some other items on the agenda. I just gave you an outline what ESS is going to be doing over this period of time. We've identified 5 key product packages that we're going to be pushing, which we think basically summarizes what will be most small to medium-sized accountancy firms' requirements in the marketplace with their clients. So we'll have more of that. Trent's been helping me on this and has done a great job. So thanks very much, Trent. And hopefully those services will be there. And if any of you want to talk to me about any of those things, you can contact me. We're just telling you that there so you know what's going on. One of the newer products I've got there is this, what we're calling innovation journey from research and development to capital raising. I'll have that finalized in the next couple of weeks. I think that's a very important area because I suspect there's been a lot of people in these lockdown periods, especially in Victoria, sitting at home or down in their shed, as long as it's within 5K of where they live, doing some work on things. And accountants hopefully are going to start getting questions. Well, what do we do about this now? Can we claim it on our tax? What do we do? And so that might lead to some inquiries. And maybe it's a conversation opener that you could use with accountants in talking to them. Why don't you find out how many of your clients might have been sitting down at their computers developing new product packages or whatever, new software, or fiddling with some sort of electronic thing in their shed and making things that they might want to commercialize. Anyone got any questions on that issue? If not, what have you people been doing? Activities? Anyone got any news story sort of things that you want to tell the others what you've been up to in the last month, or what you're going to be doing in the next month?
Well, I've actually realised that I don't like driving cars.
I don't.
I much prefer the Qantas Club. I've got to be honest.
Depends what sort of cars, mate.
Exactly. What about flying cars? Flying cars.
Yeah,
the ones with wings.
I like that little Qantas Club idea. I miss it.
The one with wings, fly dogs.
It's interesting what Jordan was talking about too. The firm that I do some work with down in Griffith started off by outsourcing HR services to a specialist, creating a strategic alliance, and as Pete said, they were the project manager. That specialist then they employed, and to clean up all their staff, then they employed another couple of staff, so they've got a HR division. And that HR division is as, if not more profitable than the compliance division.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Speaking on, this may be relevant to Queensland where people are getting busy. But there's been a couple of things I'll share from employing and engaging people point of view. Like, we're not a recruitment company, but I employ people in our business and I work closely with my clients who do. And there's a couple of reasons people are struggling. I'll talk about a psychological shift, but also why it's hard to find people at the moment. And the reason being is people are now saying, do you know what, this job seeker is here, and they're comparing for the extra sake of working 38 hours a week in a full-time role, that the extra $300 or $400 is not worth it. Yeah. I'm telling people to, based on that, to shift that psychology and say, so that people realize when job seeker stops, there's going to be a lot of people vying for the roles, and it's not a time that I would want to be not in a freaking position. And that comment sounds counterproductive to what I'm about to say next from a psychological shift. But I've seen a huge shift in people who were everyone's familiar with disc profiling, correct?
Yep.
And yeah, okay. So there's been a huge shift in people who are now looking for security. If you do understand disc profiling, people are now going, I'm seeing D's and I's who have shifted, people who are money motivated and incentive based. Like I sat in 2 weeks of interviews for our own business, and I'm telling people, you get in, you do this, you'll make $150,000, $200,000 a year. And they did not bat an eyelid. They just, the faces, whereas previously people would be like, yep, perfect, sign me up, what do I do? And I'm like, you just got to back yourself, and you go in and you do this, you get paid. People are now, would rather have no commission, no incentive, and 60 grand a year plus a $15,000 car allowance. There has been a huge shift. I'm seeing these hunters, and they literally are now looking for security, and at a way lower rate. So that's a positive, but there has been a huge psychological shift because people have been in roles for 10 years in sales-based roles or commission, and they've just been made redundant, and they're shell-shocked. And the people who there's been a huge shift. I would not have been able to, if you told me it was going to be this way, I'd be like, bullshit, 6 months ago.
But the expectations, they expect that, but they're not going to get it, Jordan. They're not going to get it. This is the last thing they're going to get.
Yeah.
Full stop.
The thing is like I
they
would pay
expect
them,
it,
but I'd pay them 200 grand a year. But I might say you're going to be on a 50 base, and you'll make 200 grand a year because I'll pay you 10% of all revenue, and you're going to have a $4 or $5 million budget. So that they're going to make $200,000 to $500,000 a year. And what they're doing though is they're saying, no, I'd rather get 20 grand a year more on the base and not get. And I'm telling you, like all my sales guys average 250 grand a year. The thing is that, but they would rather get 80, and I'm like, I'll pay you 80, but I didn't employ any of them because they're not the people that I really wanted to engage with. Like they had the skill set, but they're that shell shocked. It's just killed the hunter in them. I'm not saying they wouldn't be successful, but yeah, I just thought I'd share that. It's
that's great.
What sort of volume, can I ask? Like, are you talking 10 interviews, 5 interviews? Like, what sort of?
We went through probably we had 800 applications.
Wow.
I showed
800.
800. Yeah, for
it's gonna be 8,000 in a month.
Position's BDM is a position. So, but that was 800 applications. Whittled that down to about 30. And then from phone interviews, whittled that down to about 12, and then we ran the 12. The 12. So, and of that, we a friend of mine was in on the interviews in her business. She employed a BDM for her business, so we had 1 out of 12, and they are all secure. Yeah. So you're talking they come from. We did a bit of a joint pitch, but people were more interested in working during an $80,000, $90,000 a year role for a cleaning company than a slick smick like Employsure Blackstone. So, and like my guy, I mean, this is the thing is you're giving them the proof. They didn't care about the proof. All my sales guys drive like M3, M4 Beamers, and they don't give a shit. Like there has been a shift from monetary and financials, and it tells me it's maybe people just doing if the frivolous things such as, and I don't think money's frivolous, but people's priorities have shifted. I'm telling you that right now. People's priorities have shifted. And now, so understand that when you're looking to engage in the workforce, like I've changed my sales pitch for my company based on society has changed in the last 6 months. So
they have changed.
Like, it's very important.
Yeah, that's great.
If you still have the same approach to draw clientele or to sell things, I'm telling you, there's a high chance that if your message hasn't changed, you got the wrong message. So based on those things.
You are a successful business, but many businesses out there who need to employ people, they won't be so stable and they won't be able to offer the stability.
No, yeah, but I think even a job at this stage is more stability than sitting at home. Because my own brother said this to me. So my brother's quite young. He's 24. He's born in '96. So he called me up, and he's been at home on JobKeeper. He streams games, so he's a twit, but I love him. And he messaged me and he said, Jordan, I got a job at the mines. It's like they offered me a gig. It was like 3 weeks on, 1 week off. But he's married, so he's like, I decided not to take it. And I was like, it's probably a smart move, dude. So he got a job at a council, and he's got electrical experience, but it's a traineeship, and it's not massive money. It's like $17 an hour for a 24-year-old, but it's more than he would get. It's about on par with his job seeker. And he was like, I don't even know why I should do it. I get more money for sitting at home. And I was like, buddy, you need to get that. I don't give a shit how low the money is. We are about to hit some bad times in the next 12 months. And a gig with a council, like Mackay Regional Council and Mackay Water, I'm like, get that job and get the traineeship done, because in 12 months, you'll have done the hard yards and you'll reap the results. And you should be in a stable position with local council or government. But this is the mentality we're dealing with people sitting on their asses at home, to shift that. And that's my own brother, and I come from an entrepreneurial family. If I could have hit him with a cattle prod, I would have. But that's I mean, it's even known family. So just sharing that a little bit, because they're the insights I think that have a bearing on all of our businesses and our potential staff and our client staff.
Yeah, spot on.
Exactly.
Okay, so anyone got anything else they want to raise today?
Oh, lucky to have Jordan, because he's a good associate of mine. I'll approach him. And same with Trent. I mean, Mark doesn't want me as an associate, but that's okay. It's okay. You can't have everyone.
Okay, so no one's got anything else they want to raise?
Yeah, we wait for the Commonwealth thing.
Yeah, I'll try to ring them. I'll try to get hold of them later this week or next week, but later this week if I can. And I'll come back and let you know, irrespective of what the result is, I'll let you know. And we'll take it from there, eh?
If you can do anything for the Melbournians, you know, I do have the modern practice model. We can present it to them. They might like some ideas from that.
It's then getting them to watch.
Yeah,
okay, well, thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Safe.
Thanks,
and,
guys.
We'll talk.
Thanks, guys.
Next discussion. The first Monday in October is a holiday in Queensland, I think in New South Wales.
I'm going fishing.
So I'm suggesting Monday, the 10th of October.
Yeah, I'm going fishing.
Oh well.
For the Queen's birthday.
Oh, is that what that's called?
Sunshine Coast. That's Queen's.
Nice.
I'm going fishing. I got this amazing fishing rod from US. No more China anymore. I ordered it from US, and that's the fishing rod I'm gonna use.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Enjoy.
Okay.
Catch the big ones.
Catch the big ones. Yeah, we'll see your photograph in the Courier Mail.
Exactly. Oh, I do have. I already have one with a big emperor, red emperor.
Not bad. That's impressive.
No, I do have the photo, and if you want it, I'll send it over. But that was deep sea fishing. This is gonna be just off the rocks, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'm after flathead only.
Oh, okay. Righto. She's a good fisherman. She's fussy.
Oh, yes. But if you want my photo with the red emperor, which I did catch, that was deep sea fishing.
Send it round.
I'll send it through. It is famous.
Yeah, send it round.
I also was skinnier and younger and skinnier, but it happened. It did happen.
He's putting qualifications on now.
You know where?
Set the expectations.
Exactly that. You know where it happened? In 1717.
Oh, okay. On the beach. Beautiful place.
Oh, my God.
Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. We'll be in contact, eh?
All right.
See you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Good luck out there.
Take care.
Bye-bye.